Welcome to Reality Check, where we talk about things as crude as it gets. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, let's get going. Alright guys, today we'll be talking about coworkers. You probably have heard everything about the people that you work with. If they're friends, that you can trust them, that it's always a competition, that there cannot be a good place to work, yada yada yada. It's kind of a complicated matter because it's human relations, and there will be always personalities, company policy, the way that leadership manages inter-employee relationships, and all of that plays a role, and the way that employees are and how you behave in your workplace. Also, the amount of supervision and the characteristics of your job play a big role in that. As a matter of fact, you spend about 30% of your time at work, and that is the time where you clock in into location. It's not counting commuting. So since you clock in into location and get your work day going, that's gonna be most of your time. In many unfortunate situations, people that has double jobs spend more time at work than what they do with their families or doing what they like. So what is supposed to be the relationship with the people that you work with? Obviously that maintaining good manners and respect is the rule, but what about deeper connections? Human beings are social creatures. We are designed to be in a group and socializing with each other. And yes, I get there is the loners or the people that have social anxiety, but actually one of the reasons that you might have social anxiety is because of the lack of socializing. But that's probably not for socializing as much when you were a teenager. Maybe because you were not in the group that you were aligned with. It happened to me. In my high school years, I wasn't a popular kid, not either a weirdo. I was just a regular kid with friends that was dating some girls, had some friends, but I wasn't nothing out of the ordinary. Maybe because I didn't grow up in the US, culture tends to be a little bit different. And the American society tends to be very isolating if you don't fit in the mold. But now back to subject. It's normal that people at work become friends. Even that people at the same workplace develop romantic relationships. As I just said, it's the place where you spend most of your time, so it's going to be completely normal to make natural connections there. But this is Reality Check, and we have to snap from the dream. So, let's get going. First, you can have complete idiots working with you, especially at entry-level jobs. People completely unaligned with you and your interests. This is something that affects more than anyone else in retail jobs and fast food, where people is there only to get a couple $100 they get by the week and then just go home. But why these places have some of the worst working places and environments to work? First, the expectation. Low-wage jobs have in retail and food service a tremendous amount of expectation over underpaid employees with low skills that are not motivated to grow and don't want to put more meat on the grill in the job. On top of that, they have managers that are usually not qualified enough to be a manager on a bigger endeavor, so they dedicate themselves to be quote-unquote managers in retail or these industries, and they're getting paid pretty much the same as a college graduate. This is a pain in hospitality, food service, and retail. Usually the first encounters most people have as their first experience in the professional world. Tell me something. What was the first job you really hated and why? So the amount of oversight, the stricter set of rules, with more people to take care of, and a fast-paced workplace have everyone in high-stress, low-reward environment that pretty much make most people hate each other. But in places that work 24 hours, the nightmare shift people tends to have better relationships and build friendships or more in a way more manner. Because the lack of constant micromanagement and the less stressful work environment, remember that we're not machines, we're people that is treating other people, so the statistic says that at the third shift, people tend to enjoy more the entry-level jobs because the nature of the shifts removes some of the crap they have to take care of. When at the same time, first and middle shift people tend to have more turnover because people rarely abandon a job based on the nature of the work. It's more for the conditions, the people, and the leadership. In an office environment, the situation changes a little bit. The workers have more autonomy, but at the same time, the social cues that we also seen in the office in the TV show are not necessarily there. And there is HR. HR in office jobs is a complete nightmare. In some cases, anyone can get offended for the slightest joke. Any comment or compliment can be easily confused and taken as harassment. It is confirmed by reports from independent media that HR and harassment complaints are the number one reason for termination and unfair termination in the corporate environment. A meme, a joke, anything out of place will be used against you as a firecracker in a wildfire that can destroy your career and your complete financial stability in 1 second. Taking in account that with the amount of debt, a termination can easily transform into homelessness very quickly. Less than 10% of Americans have at least 1 month of budget in savings. An astonishing 80% of the workforce lives paycheck to paycheck because our financial habits are not the best, you have to say it. When you get a promotion or increased income, you rarely save more, just increase your debt and your spending, and you're pretty much in the same place. So with that environment, how social interaction is a thing in the office? Well, there is not, or very minimal. And this is hurting mainly middle-aged women, because things as the biologic clock and the destruction of traditional relationships archetypes are making it way harder to middle-aged women to have solid friendships and to find a significant other. And due to the fact that women are, for economic reasons, more necessarily to be working, the amount of middle-aged women are increasingly into office work environments up to 140% more comparing today with the 80s. Also, normally the HR departments of companies are composed 100% of middle-aged women. That enforces the HR codes so strongly that it's almost impossible to have regular male-to-female interaction. Also, I'm not going to say that sexual harassment and misconduct does not exist in the workplace. It does. But normally it tends to come from somebody in a position of power instead of same-level employees. And then, the post-pandemic remote work tendency. Remote work has eliminated the office. You cannot have social interaction if the place where the interaction happens does not exist. So this has made that middle-level employees have these weird interactions in stupid team meetings that actually nobody cares, and spending the whole day playing cahoots with a stupid manager that you really dislike. So that makes that it's not impossible. You can have great friendships and even find your significant other at work, but today is way more complicated and a lot harder than what previous generations had it in the past. So considering that, I will think about getting a hobby or something where I can find somebody, because that is one of the reasons there is a loneliness epidemic in young adults in America. People just don't have a common place where they can meet, they can relate, and they can build friendships or either romantic relationships. I'm gonna make a quick mention. At a higher level, interactions tend to be a little bit more normal, because higher ups are considerably more protected from HR than regular employees. But that actually is not necessarily true. Sometimes cheating, breaking families, romantic adventures are something that is very common at a high level on the corporate playground. So this is gonna be it for the video, guys. Tell me what is happening. You got friends from your job? Tell me. Have you found your significant other or somebody very important in the workplace? I would love to hear your comments. Please like, subscribe, and help me to grow, because I want to keep the message being spread. Now, let's get going.